Good morning, everyone. Or good evening, good afternoon. If anyone's out there, hi, welcome. It's another Friday. I hope you've had a good week and looking forward to a good weekend. And Friday means it's time to play around with some UI. What I figured might be a little bit of fun would be taking on a new one. So we eventually kind of mostly finished the coffee one. So let's move on to another design. And this is a design. Let me just share some links out on this one. So this is a design over in Dribble. It's called Fishman Mobile App. It's by... Hey, Harrison, how you doing? It's by Fadila Rizki. And it's quite a nice little design. So this is what we're going to have a look at today. So hopefully everyone is doing well. All right, cool. Let's talk about why this app. The reason I sort of looked at or thought this might be an interesting design is for a few reasons. One, it's got some interesting gradients going on, and you know I love gradients. Everyone loves gradients, right? So that's kind of nice. What else have we got? We've got a little page view down here. So it's got an onboarding screen. I don't do a lot of onboarding screens, so I thought it might be fun to just do an onboarding screen because a lot of apps need them. I quite like the style of this. I think if I was a fisherman, which I most certainly am not, but if I was, maybe I'd like to use an app like this. And this page here looks kind of interesting. So this one, I'm kind of imagining how this might work is like sort of a, not quite an AR, not quite that advanced, but as you sort of scroll along, or maybe there's like a 360 view picture of the lake or whatever, you could sort of scroll along and it might show you where the various fish are. So that might be pretty cool. And I suppose you could hook it up to the compass and things like that. But anyway, kind of a nice design. I thought it would be interesting to play around with this one. So that's what I'm going to have a look at. As always, I'm going to just throw all this code up in GitHub. So let me see if I've got a command for that puppy. There we are. So it's going to go under fishing. That's where we'll put it. So if you want to check it out.
With Mr. Kim, Phil Potts, and oh, how amazing.
Hey, Beer and More. Welcome. Thanks for the follow. I was just covering off what sort of stuff we're going to have a look at. So welcome. All right. Now, how I normally like to start these challenges is to get the design and bring it into Adobe XD or whatever is your favorite design tool. Doesn't really matter. I just like Adobe XD, and then sort of break apart the parts and the colors and yada yada yada, all that sort of stuff. So I'm gonna copy this image, and I'm gonna come over to Adobe XD. I'm gonna create myself a new design, and I think just looking at it, I think it's probably an iPhone 10 sort of thing, or X. It's got that. It's the long version of an iPhone. Let's create one of those. Alrighty. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a rectangle to paste this stuff into. I kind of wish there was a nice way. Oh, maybe there is, but I just don't know. What I normally do is I paste that in there. I get rid of the border, select it, and then say paste appearance. Okay, and that then puts it in there. Hey, Travidale, welcome. So that's the idea. Now, one cool thing with hotkeys with Adobe XD is I think you'll find if we hold down Alt and Shift, we should be able to resize this in place, which means I should just be able to do that and get it about right. How's that? That's one of the screens. Beautiful. Matt, how you doing? Happy Friday. Indeed. And my Buso, I'm well, thank you. Hope you're doing well also. All right, so that's one of our screens, and let's call this the, I don't know, let's call this the details screen. I don't know. Okay, and what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna duplicate this. And I'm gonna put it over here. I don't know why I did that, but let's just do it anyway. You're doing well, Mabuso? Beautiful. All right, then I'm gonna grab this and I'm gonna move. Hang on a second, that doesn't feel right. Come here. In the rectangle. Yep. Go and move. Normally that's see-through. Why is that not see-through? Oh well. There we are. And I'll just move this down a little bit. So today I thought we would focus in on this onboarding screen as a starting point. Who's written an onboarding screen before? Yep, Matt Goldman has. It's a little bit weird, this. Oh well, let's... Nothing that fancy. Yeah, I thought, like, you know, it's hard when you're like me and you just kind of look at designs on Dribble. It's sometimes kind of hard to work out what the intent the designer had is. But this is what I'm going to take from it, right? And plus, just to make it a little bit more challenging, right? So what I figure is this gradient here, right? This little line that we have going on here. I'm going to make that like permanent. So in other words, like when we swipe left and right, because you can see it's got this page control down here. When we swipe left and right, the gradient stays where it is, but the image moves behind it. You know what I mean? So it kind of adds that consistency across pages. So I'm going to try that, see how that goes. What else? Down here, we've got the page, you know, or the indicator view, basically. I don't know what the intent of this thing here is. But why don't we, just for giggles, and just so we can play around with the indicator view a little bit. Hey, Tended Dinosaur. I think you just did a host or a raid. Welcome. So, like I said, I'm not sure what the intent is, but why don't we just make it so that this is like what the selected page looks like. So if they swipe across to the next page, we'll put this like green star doodangy thing here. I should probably do that in green, shouldn't I? There we are. Green star doodangy thing there. And, you know, basically have that as their indicator. So that might be fun, right? Apart from that, we got some gradients, you know, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So the intent is to try and get this onboarding screen done today. All right. All right. Just having a look at the chat. Harrison, yeah, you had a request to do one just the other day. Yep. So the interesting thing about an onboarding screen is that it's kind of like not part of your core screen flow, right? So in other words, what I mean is, let's say, you know, we've got these screens here, right? So these two screens here would be part of your core app, right? Presumably, the onboarding screen only ever happens on first launch, right? So first launch. And if you're, you know, on this screen here and you hit the back button, you don't want to go back to that screen, right? So we don't want that, because that doesn't kind of make sense, because often what onboarding screens are used for is to, like, you know, create your account or, you know, do things that you want to do once and you never want the user to go back there. So we'll have to do something about, you know, popping this up modally and not putting it into the navigation stack, essentially. All right. Hopefully that makes sense. All right. So let's... Matt Goldman says ... Why do you say ... That actually completely solves one of my problems. All right, that's good. We like solving problems. Solving problems is awesome. You're doing it way more complex than that, yeah. Okay. Well, I'm not guaranteeing, Matt, that mine is going to be appropriate for all solutions, but maybe it'll work. You never know. All right. Let's capture a few elements here. So I'm going to just talk a little bit. We're going to focus in on the onboarding screen today, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create myself a little page here, and this is, well, just one will do, thanks. And this little page here this will be resources. Okay. And, it's got a pretty strong color palette, really, when it comes down to it. By strong, I mean it's, there's only a few colors, really, when it comes down to it. So let's go and grab this one. Let's go and, first of all, grab the background color. Okay, beautiful. So we could even come here and we could say, add that color. Hi, Nosra Nasra. How you doing? Welcome. Okay, so we've got a background color. And you know what I have to do? I have to update my exporter from Adobe XD. So we should do that on one stream, actually. Get that working, get that published to the Adobe store so that we can just go export to Xamarin. I just have been really lazy and haven't done it. Okay, what's our other color? Our other color is like our accent color. So the accents, I would argue, in this are kind of that green color. So let's go and grab a green here. And we'll call this like accent. Beautiful. We kind of have this color. Incidentally, has anyone tried the color picker from Power Tools? It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Like, if you don't use Power Tools on Windows, you're missing out. So for those of you who don't know, Power Tools is this thing here. And it's got a color picker. And the color picker is really cool. Right? Because you can do this. You can go like Control-Shift-C, and then it brings up this little thing where it's highlighting the color. And the best thing about it is if you was to like select this color here, it brings up this little window and then it shows you darker and lighter shades. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It shows you in hex and RGB, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, anyway, that's a nice little tool. But regardless, what I was going to do is I was going to go and have a look at this color. And I would just wanted to capture perhaps this text color here. I always hate capturing text colors like this because it's really imprecise. And I'm sure the designer has this perfect color in mind. Anyway, that's the color it's going to be. Right, so this is going to be, what's this going to be? This is going to be body text, maybe. Body text. Okay, because the header text is that white? It's so rare to see white and black in a design. What is that? Yep, that's white. Oops, and I just changed the color of that to white. So let's put that back. Cool. I think that's kind of like the main colors, right? Because everything else is, it goes from this color here. Now, what color is that? Actually, that's another color to capture, isn't it? Let's capture this color. So dark. I wonder if it's the same as this bullet. I might make it the same as this bullet here. I feel like it should be. All right. And so this color would be, maybe we're going to call this like background gradient. I struggle with names. All right, so that's the idea there. We'll start off with this onboarding screen. All right, now, how are we going to do this? This is my theory here, right? So I like to theorize about how this is going to come together. I'm just going to move this screen over this way a bit. Here's my theory. My theory of this one is what we're going to have is we're going to have a page, which is a grid, probably, something like that. It's going to have 2 rows. Okay, so this is going to be row 1, and this is going to be row 2. Okay, and this is probably going to be like 1.5, and this is probably going to be 1, right? So this is basically half again as big as this one. Now, into here, we need to add an image. So the image is going to go in grid row 1. Grid row 0. The other details are going to go into grid row 1. Now, the effect I want to achieve with this one is when the user swipes, so let's say they swipe this way, I want this image to move. I want this text to move. I want this page to update, but I don't want that shadow to move. And I don't want this button to move. Actually, I don't want this to move. I just want it to update, which is the active one. So, so basically, it's like what we're going to have is we're going to have this gradient over top, right? So my theory on this one is what we could probably do in order to get that is we could create a. Let's see if we can do this here. We could create a really big gradient. Right, so let's just grab our background color here for a second. Like a radial gradient that goes from can I change the order of that? Come on, flip it around. It's not going to let me. All right. We're going to go from transparent, fully transparent, up here to, and this is going to be like a gray color here. I probably want to do this in an ellipse, actually. I don't want to do this in a square. Right, let's try that again. So we're going to create a radial gradient that goes from transparent, and then it goes all the way to like the black sort of color that's on the page, like that. Okay, and let's see what effect we get there. That's not right, is it? So this first one needs to be transparent. There we go. So something like that, right? We're going to have a squircle. But it's going to be a really big circle, right? It's going to be like this big. You know what I mean? So something like that, right? And it's even going to be a little bit more than that because we're going to have this stop point here where it goes transparent to, right? So we only get a ring of transparency, a ring of color, right? Something like that, which means that we can then have like this gradient. And obviously we don't want a border there, right? Okay, and so something like that, and that's going to be the thing that creates that gradient, and it's going to be overlaid over the entire thing. So that's the idea. Now, I know that I can't achieve this with the inbuilt gradients, right? And the reason why I think, is because I can't scale it like that really, really massive. But there is a really, really cool library called MagicGradients, which I'm going to try and use. Okay, but we'll have a look at that as we go through. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Now, where should we start? Should we start with setting up the page structure? Sounds like a good idea. I'm going to start by saving this file because that's where you should start things. Adobe XD hates it when you save things to your local file. C dev GitHub. We made this one called phishing. So I've already created the GitHub repo. I'm just going to create a folder here for the design. And let's call this phishing. Okay, beautiful. So let's jump over to our application. So our application at the moment, I've actually just created it and I've got it running. It's just the standard visual file new project. So what we have is we've got a main page, lovely jubbly. So let's get rid of some of this stuff. At the moment, we'll just put. Look, why don't we leave that there, right? We'll leave that page there because what we want to do is we want to add an onboarding page. Okay, so let's do that. So, zoinks, let me minimize this. Let me stop that from doing its thing. Come on, there's a good mouse. You can do it. Okay, let's go and add a new page. New content page, and we'll call this onboarding page. Okay, so we've got an onboarding page. We can just have welcome to Xamarin.Forms in here at the moment. That's cool. Now, what we need to do is we need to work out whether we should show this onboarding page, right? Because if we have a look at our app.xaml, we're just kicking off the main page. Cool. Now, what we said we want to do is sort of, I have no idea what that was. Okay, what we want to do is we've got our main page here, and we've got subsequent pages here. What we're going to do is when we come to this page, if it's the first launch, or if we want to show the pop-up page, what we're going to do is we're going to open it modally, right? And so then what we're going to have is we're going to have this page which appears over top, and this is our onboarding screen, right? And you can go through multiple pages here if you want, right? But ultimately, when you kill this thing, we want it to come back to here, and this is no longer in our backstack. Okay, that's a really terrible picture, but that's the idea. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll go into onto our main page, and we'll have a look at the code here. All right, and what we want to do is, okay, let's just create a variable here, or a method. We'll say if should show onboarding. Right. Now this is a method that we don't have at the moment. And I'm just putting it into a method just because we're going to have to fake this a little bit, right? Kim Picasso. I don't think so, Travidale. I don't think so. Yeah, it's. I love the zoom it tool, but you can end up drawing some really weird things. Okay. What we want to do here is we want to say, should we show onboarding? Now, typically you're going to want to show onboarding if it's the first launch. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Xamarin Essentials first launch. Right, first run detection, right? So it's got some stuff in to do this. Version tracking, which function to detect first run, as well as for specific versions that the user's running, right? So this is pretty cool, right? But we could use first launch for current build. Interesting. Okay, so you could make it so every time they have an update, it goes back to the launching screen, right? So in my case, I might want to just do this. And add in a bit of Xamarin Essentials magic, right? If it's first launch ever, return true. And because I'm lazy, I'm going to do this, right? And then I could do this. There we are. I don't know why I did that. So I could do this. Now, the problem with that for me is that this is not going to work as I debug because it's only ever going to be the first launch once, right? So what I might do is I might just return true back out of here, right? Should I show onboarding every time? Yes, because I'm just working on it. But ultimately, I could do this. Okay. So my logic is going to be something like this. Now, what I want to do is I want to create an onboarding page instance, right? And we could say this is a new. Hey, Lachlan Gordon. My button isn't working for my sounds. Good morning, Lachlan. But I see you just subscribed for 14 months. You're a legend, you are. I don't know why my button isn't working. It isn't. Hopefully everything's going well for you, Lachlan. Now, Lachlan probably has some views on onboarding pages, I'm guessing. But this is how I'm going to do it. And we'll see if it works. So I'm going to create a new instance of an onboarding page, right? And, I could pass some things into there if I wanted to. Well, I don't want to. I'm just going to create an onboarding page. And then what I want to do is I'm going to go to and I'm not doing this in shell, right? By the way, in the last stream, I kept on saying I'll get back and I'll refactor it later. I created myself a little overlay to do that. So I can now have, I'll now have a little thing where I can press a button and I'll refactor it later, goes up. So that will just keep me honest as we go through. Anyway, I'm going to reset that because I haven't done anything that requires refactoring yet. There we go. All right, cool. Now, so Lachlan says, here's a slightly controversial opinion. It's actually not that controversial. I know where you're coming from, Lachlan. Let me pop that up here. Oh, none of my things are working today. Turns out it's not going to show it. I was going to put it on featured chat. Anyway, Lachlan says, if your app needs onboarding, it's because you designed a bad UI. I don't know if I always agree with that, Lachlan. I know exactly where you're coming from, but my opinion is that sometimes there are things you'll want to do up front in the application. It could even be like, this could be a logon page, right? The point is you've got a page that you only really go to once. I don't know. But the point here, Lachlan, is I'm trying to copy a design which has an onboarding page. But yeah. I used to see a lot of applications where the onboarding page would just go through and it would say, like, give me microphone access, give me photo access, give me this access, and give me that access. But I'm seeing less and less of that because I think what was happening is people would, if they got to ask for all these permissions in the onboarding before they even used anything. They just kill it. And Lachlan says, I just use that position to justify being too lazy to make onboarding. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I make excuses all the time as well. Okay, so I'm going to push a modal page, right? And I'm going to push my onboarding page. And I don't want it to be animated. Right? I just want it to pop up. Cool. Now, theoretically, that's all I kind of need, right? So let's put our onboarding page. But we are going to want more than this, right? So our onboarding page, we've got a stack layout that says, welcome to Xamarin.Forms. We'll put a button in here. Text equals, take me to the app. All right. And being a bad person, we'll just put a click event in here. All right. And in this page here, what we want to do is we basically want to go navigation dot pop modal async, right? And we don't want to animate. All right. And that's probably going to do everything we need. Am I missing something? I think so. So what we should see if we launch this, we should see this welcome to Xamarin.Forms. We hit the click button. I don't know what that is. Okay. Hit the click button and we're taken to the main page, which is the more complex one. Let's see what happens. And because we popped it modally, it shouldn't appear in the backstack. Okay, so we got welcome to Xamarin.Forms. This is our onboarding page. And I say, take me to the app. Okay, and we're here. Beautiful. So we're on our main page. Now, if I go back, I'm not going to go back to that page. Right? In fact, because it's Android, it's going to go and basically go out of the process because that was the first thing on the stack. Okay, cool. Okay, so onboarding page, Now, that's cool. What would happen if, because, it's fun to play around with those things, right? I don't see any problems with that. I think it's fine. What would happen if we wanted to have, say, a little bit more control, right? Because in this app here, maybe, going between this page and this page, because it's so dark themey, maybe we could fade this out and then fade this in. So let's talk about how we could do that. Or maybe you want to run some animation or something from the time you close your onboarding to the time that you do something else, right? So why don't we just play with that for a second. So in my onboarding page, I'm going to make this fade to black, maybe. I don't know. Let's do that. So let's put this in a grid because everything starts with a grid. It's not really true, but okay. And what we'll do is inside of here, we'll have our stack layout just as we had before. And then maybe we'll have ourselves a little, like a little fade box or something like that, right? And the job of that is, I do this all the time in my various things, which is where I basically just have a box or a box view, and then just basically adjust the opacity on it. So I'm going to put this after the stack layout. I'm mostly just interested in how this would work, actually. So we're going to access this in some code. So we'll say fade box. And we'll put its opacity at 0. And just for giggles, we'll put its color to black. Bork. To black. Okay. Now, it's going to be covering over everything, so we don't want it to interrupt whenever you have one of these sort of pop-up things. You don't want it to interrupt the flow. So I'm going to say input transparent is true, which means the box view isn't going to receive any clicks or anything like that. Okay, so we got input transparent is true, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is when the user goes ahead and taps on that page, right, what we want to do is let's go and we're going to do an await here, because we're going to say our fade box, right, fade box, we're going to fade it to an opacity of 1 over, say, a second. All right. Now, this here is asynchronous. It's awaitable, right? So we should await this puppy as well, right? So we'll await that. Okay. So what this is going to effectively do is it's going to say, you know what? I'm going to fade that box I'm going to fade this screen to black, and then I'm going to dismiss it. Cool. Let's deal with this on the main page. So let's say we want to do the same thing here, right? Which could be a thing, you know, like I suppose, right? Kind of just want to see how it works. Anyway, let's throw another grid in here. This is just for giggles at the moment, right? And we'll create a similar box view here. In fact, we might even call it the same thing, right? Just for simplicity. Okay, call it fade box as well. But this one we're going to start off visible. And what we're going to do is when we come back from our onboarding page, we want to fade that out. Yeah, kind of makes sense. All right, so the way that we can do this is there's an event, right? So app.current, right? There's a modal popping event. I don't know if I want popping or this is raised after a view has been popped modally. Event that's raised when a view is modally popped. Popping. I don't know which one. Let's go with popping. Popping's fun. All right. So we're gonna hook an event up to that bad boy. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, if the thing that's popping is our splash screen, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to actually hold on to this page, this here, right? So we'll have a page, which is our onboarding page. All right. And we're going to say if e dot the modal, which is a page, right, equals our onboarding page. So I'm only going to do this with the onboarding page because maybe you have other pop-ups. I don't know, whatever. Right. Then what we're going to do is we're going to say fadebox dot fade to 0 over 1 second. Okay, and this is we're going to do that, and then we're going to say at that point there we can probably clean up some stuff. So we could say our onboarding page, we don't need that anymore. Maybe you do though. Maybe you're going to get some data from it, right? In which case you would probably, you can say onboarding.username equals, and pull out that data. And then because I don't need that event anymore and I don't want the risk of it doing bad things, right? I'm going to minus equal that from current modal popping. All right. So hopefully that makes sense, kind of what that's doing. I don't know if it's going to work exactly, but I think it will. I've done this sort of thing before. This is where we get to see that. Okay, so we're welcome to Xamarin.Forms. So what I'm hoping is when I say take me to the app, it'll fade to black, and then it will fade in the main screen. Fade to black, and then fade in our main screen. So there we are. That's pretty cool, right? And the back button doesn't take us back there. Okay. Now, if I come back here because the app's sort of stopped, I'll end up back here. Okay. Take me to the app, fade, and the other one fades in. Cool.
Excellent.
Done it. All right. So now we have the basic structure of our page appearing and our page disappearing. Now what we can do is the fun stuff. Let's go and actually create this page layout. So let's first of all sorry, my wife is just heading out. Let's create this UI. So first things first, what font do we think this is? I don't know. Every time I look at a font, I kind of just assume it's Open Sans. Discover nature. Let's have a look. Open Sans, probably like a semi-bold or something. Do we have a semi-bold? We don't have a semi-bold. Why don't I have a semi-bold? I think it's close enough to Open Sans that we'll use it, because I know that I already have Open Sans on my machine. All right, let's go with something like that for the font. Alrighty, let's capture some of these colors here as a starting point then, huh? Why don't I do this? Why don't I use the color capture tool in our app here and say, let's capture that. Let's capture, oops. And it looks like I've already captured that color. Let's capture that. Let's capture that. Let's capture that. And then I can probably just access them here until I bother fixing my plugin. All right. So let's come over here. Let's go to our app XAML. Get you out of the way there. So we've got our application resources. And so what do we want? We want to put in some colors here. Okay. So we want a color. And we'll say this is background. I don't like the background. There we go. And let's grab that color. That's our color. Hi, Goku Jax. How you doing? Welcome. We're just doing this this onboarding screen. We'll add an accent color in here. So that's going to be this color here. we're going to create, we're going to have one called background gradient. Start. Sure. Which is going to be this color here. And then we're going to have body text. And that is going to be this color here. All right, so we got some colors. So we can start putting that onto our page, which is cool. All right, so we're going to have, let's put that page layout that we talked about. All right, so we mentioned there was going to be a grid. It's going to have 2 rows. It's going to be basically a row here, a row there. Then we're going to have probably down here, there's going to be another grid with a page indicator and some other stuff here. I'm also going to find some cool pictures of fishermen, if there is such a thing. All right, so I want to go to our onboarding page. Hey, Bill Ashton. How you doing? Howdy. Bill, did I show you, did you see my refactor count button? I think we mentioned last time that I say I'll refactor that later too many times. So now I have this little button here that I can press every time I'm bad, and I can up my count. So there you go. So now I know how many times I do bad code. All right, welcome to Xamarin.Forms. So here's our cool little onboarding page. That's the page we're going to deal with. Take me to the app. Whoop. Beautiful. Of course, that's not really what I want to do. I want to go back to that page. And I'm going to put this up here. I always sort of forget my head's in the way. So let's put that there. Okay, so here's our page, yada, yada, yada. Get rid of all of this stuff. I'll keep this fade box just for giggles, because it might be fun. And we'll say, first of all, let's make our page background color. Let's make this background. And then I do a save and nada. Okay. I don't know where that is. Okay. Is my grid got color? Somehow have I not saved my app XAML, maybe? Anyway. Let's put this in here. Let's see if this is going to make it happier. There we are, that's happier. Beautiful. Okay. So we've got our grid which has a background color there. We want to have some rows, so we'll say row definitions. The first row is going to be 1.5 star. Second one is going to be 1 star. Okay. Now, let's add a box view, and we'll just make this yellow for the moment. So this is going to be where our image sits. Okay. Image sits in the top part. Down the bottom is the other stuff. All right. In fact, why don't I just do this? Grid dot row equals. No, we won't do it yet. Okay. Let's start off with that. So that gives us our basic layout here. Now, what I want to do is, obviously this bottom part here wants to be the background color. Now, this gradient I want to add into here. Radial gradient, right? I'm not going to be able to do it using the Xamarin gradients. I need to have a little bit more control. But there is a really cool thing called MagicGradients, which is probably going to do what I want. And I think if you're doing gradients and multiple gradients and complexy sort of gradients, this is a really good option. Okay, so MagicGradients. The idea of this is that you can do all kinds of linear gradients and things like that. It does CSS. It does really, really awesome gradient stuff. So I'm going to use this project and we're going to do some radial gradient. You know what I like about this? I looked at this page and see this here? This is a really cool thing. It says this picture is draggable, check it out. Actually, if you click on that, there's this little app called Spline, or this little website called Spline. And it means you can have 3D models in web pages, which is really nice. Let's see if this works. Is it going to work? I tried this on Safari. Yeah, look. Oh, wow, that's chunky. But you can basically, have these 3D things. It's really cool. Anyway, that's not what we're here for. What we're here for is MagicGradients. Behind the scenes, this is using SkiaSharp. So obviously I can do what I want to do with SkiaSharp directly, but you know what? Somebody else has already spent all the time doing the MagicGradient stuff. So let's take advantage of that. So I'm going to stop this for the moment. I'm going to go and add MagicGradients into my solution. Let's go and install that. I need some background music. Lovely. All right. Yep, it's got a bunch of SkiaSharp in it. Sure. I'm having this trouble with my Mac at the moment. I'm getting a very weird error. Anyway, let's not worry about that. All right, let's try this. Let's get our page and let's try adding a gradient and see how we go. And I know this is kind of like finishing touches I probably should do later on, but you know, it's kind of like the fun thing I like to do on a Friday, just sort of try different UI things. All right, come on, Android. You got this. wait. Anyone doing anything fun this weekend? I got a new Xbox. An Xbox Series X. So I'm going to play with that some. Oh, Travidale, you have your Series X as well. I only received it yesterday. I plugged it in, and went through all the startup thing, and I've just played a couple of games on it, but I feel the difference. It feels a lot more performant, and also the quick restart or whatever it's called is amazing. I'll be not unpacking for the first time in 6 months. So that'll be a highlight for my weekend. Well, that's a good thing. Packing sucks. In Travidale, you play a lot of Sea of Thieves. Looks so much better, runs so much smoother. Yeah. Yeah, I really love all the backwards compatibility stuff and all the cool things. Zack Snyder's Justice League. What is that? Is that a TV show? Is it a Netflixy thing, or is it a movie? Is it a thing? It's a movie. It's a movie. All right. Does that mean, Matt, you're going to the movies? Have we come out the other end of? It's on binge. Yeah, fair enough. Is that a mad namespace in here? And Bill, you're going mountain biking. Awesome. I've got to fix my bike actually. All right. So what are we doing? We're doing a magic gradient, right? Gradient view. Yay. Let's try. So this will be where it's a little bit interesting. Let's have a look at the docs on this bad boy. We kind of just want that, but we want a radial. I wonder if they got a radial gradient. There's so much stuff this thing does. Okay, I think we just want something like that, but instead of a linear gradient, we want a radial gradient. Come on. Gradient collection. We want a radial gradient. Okay. Angle's not a thing. On a radial gradient, that makes sense. Let's just use those for the moment so we can see it. All right, there's our gradient. Beautiful. All right, love it. Now, what we want to do is we want to go from transparent so it's showing through the yellow thing that's in the background. That's good. And we want to go to static resource. We want to go to background. Cool. All right. So we've got our gradient, right? Now the problem with our gradient here is that it's really small, right? And the other thing as well is, let me do this. Let me add a box view in the second row. I'm going to make this red in grid row 1. we want, we kind of want this gradient, right, to run around like that, okay, in just this section here. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to move the origin of this up to here, and we're going to have to make it a lot bigger. That's the idea, all right? So with the gradient view, we've got a few properties we can adjust. We've got a center. So if I set this at 0, 0, okay, beautiful. We can make this offset at 1. Okay, so therefore it's now coming down here. So that's looking pretty good. Now the other thing we want to do as well is we want to make this have a different radius. So radius X, what happens if I say 200%? It says nothing. What if I say 200? Right. So if I say 200, it's going to basically do that. So in my case, I'd want it like 2000, right? Kind of like that maybe. And the other thing I'd want to do is I don't want this gradient to be going across this full spectrum. I don't want it to start transparent and there. I want it to be like transparent up to here and then fade. So what happens if I say 0.9? It's still transparent. See, that's good. And then I say this is 3000. And then so that's looking pretty good, right? Because then I've got my image behind it, right? And it's doing that thing, which is pretty cool. So I like that. I like that. Now the problem with that is going to be, like if I rotate this device, it's going to be the wrong aspect ratio, right? So one thing I do like to do is see, I could do this. Why don't I do this? Let's put that there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually set up some sliders. Yeah, so more, would it be worth binding radius X to the width times 1500 or something? And it's exactly what I was thinking. I think you're absolutely right. It should be proportional to the width because it's otherwise it's going to look a little bit weird, right? Because, you know, some phones are a bit skinny. Maybe if you go horizontal, you want it to still have the same sort of thing as well. So I agree. I reckon we should absolutely bind this. Okay. B-Rad, how it's pronounced. One Will Brad. I remember One Will Brad. Beautiful. Excellent. Good to see you again. So yeah, I reckon it should be bound to the width of it. So this is a trick that I use sometimes, right? So I reckon it's the width times a certain amount, right? So let's give this here. Let's give this a name, right? Actually, we don't want that. We want a name. We want to adjust this value. Oops. We want to adjust this value here. Right? So let's give this a name. It's like my radial gradient. Because that's a really dumb name, right? And why don't we, to work out how big we want this thing, why don't we put a couple of sliders on here? Make it vertical. And we'll put a slider here. This will be in grid row 1. Vertical options at the end. I don't know if anyone ever does this in their UIs. I do this all the time. So you have like a slider. I'm going to have 2 sliders, right? And with these sliders, what I'm going to do is, because I want to work out the right percentage, right? Or the right multiplier. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically get the value. When this value changes, I'm going to adjust this until I get the right size. Actually, I don't know if I need 2. I just need 1. So let's go, let's give this a name. Right? And this would be like our, it doesn't really matter what our name is. In fact, I don't even think we need a name really. Let's just give it a value changed. All right. And what we want to do is in this method here, my radial gradient, right? We want to basically, so that's the width. So we'll say its radius x equals the width of the page times by a multiplier. Now, the question is, what should those values be? I feel like they should be in the range of just for fun, let's set the minimum as 0. Let's set the maximum as 5. And let's set its value equal to 1. So now, hopefully what we can do is we can play around with this and we can adjust dynamically the size of our gradient to see whether we like it. All right, do we like that? We do not like that. Do we like that? We don't like that. Do we like that? Oh, I reckon we might need a bigger maximum value. Lachlan thinks it's beautiful. See, I get the feeling it's something like that, right? But I also feel, so we put the center up here, right? Our center's here. One thing I noticed, and again, this is about like the subtlety of like designer peeps, is that I reckon this goes down a little and then up. So I reckon the anchor point for this gradient is not here. I reckon the anchor point for it is like there. That's what I reckon. Change my opinion. So if we adjust the center of this, so that's, I'm assuming it's X, Y. There we are. So now, we've got a gradient starting basically here. And then we get to work out that amount, which is probably like about there, I reckon. I mean, it's a very scientific, right? I'm gonna put a breakpoint here. But one of them action funny ones. So multiplier is e.new value, but continue execution. All right. Multiplier is, what do you reckon? About there? Maybe I should put it a round number, just for giggles. I reckon about 6. Right, because then what we can do, right, is obviously the bottom of the page is not going to be red, right? The bottom of the page is going to be this color. Hey, take care, Shravida. So there we are. We're going to... Wow, that was large. So it's going to be like that. Oh, I did it again. Really? Come back here. Visor. Visor gone crazy. Gone cray-cray. Wow, it's gone really big. All right. Gradients. Right, so that's not what we want. We want it to be a value of around about 6. Multiplier of 6. So about like that. I reckon that looks cool. All right. So now probably what we... Yeah, I saw that they're doing lots of good things. It was kind of like going nowhere for a little while, but now it's really good. I have a license for it. Yeah, it's really, really cool. All right. So what does that mean? That means that what I want to do is basically assign that value to 6. And then I can get rid of my slider here. I don't have my slider anymore. Yeah, it's only if you're on Mac OS though. Like as in, I can't do it from Windows here at the moment. Which is a little bit sad. Yeah, I know, Lachlan, you're a Mac kind of guy. You can, exactly. All right, so my onboarding screen. So we decided that, yep, that wants to be, so is it always going to be the same? I think it's always going to be the same. So let's say my gradient. Wait, I need to do it when I have the height, right? Yeah, I need to do it when I know the height. So I need to override size allocated. I always struggle with this one, but I think at this point here, I have my width. So therefore I can say my radial gradient dot radius x equals width times 6. Something, something. Let's see if that works. I just saw your comment, Lachlan. It does sound like a Kim problem, not a Lachlan problem. Well, there we are. And that's it. Beautiful. So that was a lot of time creating a little round gradient. But we also have our button down here, which we actually don't have anymore. Did I get rid of the button? Or did I just put a big old box view over top of it? That turns out I got rid of the button. All right, cool. Well, that's all right. We can put the other bits in now. All right, so I guess the I'm gonna have a quick bio break here, right? Let me just put this in just for fun, just to show you the kind of effect here. Let's put a button in here. Thanks. Wow, that's not where I want it to be. Oh, I don't know whether that's horizontal, vertical options. And, all right, I don't know if this is going to actually work, but we have our page like this. We have a little button over here. It's not hooked up, which is fair enough. It was a valiant attempt. Okay, so we got a little button. We click the thanks. We fade to black, and a new page fades in. Awesome. All right, that's a good starting point. Now I'm gonna have a quick bio break, and then we'll come back and we'll put all of the carousel view in, and the page indicators in this here. It's gonna look awesome. All right, so let me go to a break screen. Remember, if you leave, you get banned. Not true. Not true. Let me just go to a break screen. We can see the fish swimming in the background, and I'm just going to put a little timer on for a second. Let's make it 4 minutes. See you soon. Hey everyone, we're back. I started a poll in the chat. I don't know if it's working for anyone else, but I asked the question, should an onboarding screen have a view model? What's your opinion? Should an onboarding screen have a view model? I think it should. Oh, looks like the timeout. Looks like I have a look at the poll result and it says yes. So the reason I ask that is because I want to know whether to put a view model behind this screen or not for the oh, hang on. My wife's just arrived. Say hi to everyone on Twitch. Thank you. So what do we have? Lachlan, you didn't vote quick enough. I could do it again if you want. Let me try it again. I wonder if I can... Should a screen... All right, I'll put it on for 1 minute. Let's see how it goes. Let's have a look at some of the response. So Matt says it depends. Yeah, just like everything, it depends. Capital Twitch, every screen should have a VM. Yeah. Yeah, maybe. Brad says, I'm guilty of pretty much never using view models. Slap it in the class code and run away. And that's cool. I'm good with that. I don't have a problem with that. Excuse me, I'm going to eat. I reckon the reason I'm going to put a view model behind this, I reckon, is because I reckon I'm mostly on onboarding screens. You're probably doing it to collect a little bit of information as well, which means you're probably going to want that data to go somewhere. Okay, so because I don't want to have to, you know, like press this little button. I'll refactor it later. So instead of that, why don't we add a view model in? So we're not running. That's good. And I add the view model in because, so let's create a view models. Do other people create models folder as well? You know, I suppose, right? I don't know. In my case here, I'm just going to create a class. I'm just going to like call it like onboarding model or something like that. Onboarding. Right. And all we're going to have in here, right, for our onboarding model, it's really simple, right? All we have is we've got an image, we've got a header, and we've got some body text, right? So we just got the three things. What is this icon doing? Okay. So let's just go with that. Let's go with super simple model. We're gonna have a string, which is our title. We're gonna have another one, which is our content, I suppose. And we're gonna have another one, which is our image URL, or just our image. Okay, cool. So that's our onboarding model. Super simple, whatever. To make Capital Twitch happy, let's create a view model for this thing. It might make me happy too. Okay, let's call this onboarding view model. Okay. Let's make this have and then we get into the whole, what do we use a view model for our base view model? Look at that. How did it do that? How did it work out I wanted to use MVVM helpers? Is that because the IntelliSense stuff has already worked out that mostly when people say base view models, is it because I have that installed somewhere? I don't know, but it's exactly what I want to do. I want to, I want to install it and use it. That's so cool. That's so cool. All right. So we have base view model. I'm going to have a collection of items. It doesn't matter. Observable range collection, just observable collection. Actually, because I've already got it, let's just do that. Of onboarding models. Yeah. So this is my items. Okay. Let's create a constructor on this thing, and let's go and create our dummy items, dummy onboarding items. Okay, so we want to basically, actually we should probably have a property for this thing, shouldn't we? Can I? Yeah, that's what I want. Right, so I'm just going to basically go, yep. I'm going to move this up the page because that's how we roll. And then I'm going to do like items items equals a new onboarding model collection-y thingamajiggy. And that's the problem with MVVM. It's a lot of work, right? So we'll say our title equals content equals and our image URL or image equals. So we won't have any of those things for the moment. Let's create some fake text using a lorem ipsum for fish. That seems appropriate. I love how there's a lorem ipsum for everything.
Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim Philpotts, and oh how amazing you'll be.
Welcome. Thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate it. In case you just joined, or if anyone's wondering what we're doing, we're just doing a bit of Xamarin.Forms. We basically on a Friday we grab some UIs like this one here, and then we go and we replicate it in Xamarin.Forms. So this is, let me just give you the link to the design, and then a link to where I'm going to be putting the code. Okay. Yeah. So at the moment, what we're doing is we're just doing this first page here. But yeah, thanks for the follow. Now, how many pages are we going to have? Let's have like 3 pages, right? Boom, boom, boom. Okay. And then I'll go and grab my fish ipsum. And we'll put that as the content. Might be a bit much, actually. But anyway, we'll grab a couple of these. All right, let's have a look at the design. What does it say? Discover nature and catch the fish. Let's go with that one first of all, because it'll help us discover nature and catch the fish. That's a weird thing to say. All right. Let's add some things in. Find new fishing spots. What else? What else do fishermen do? What else does this app do? This app also app also tells you what fish are around you, I suppose. I don't know. What does it do? Who else is fishing? Who's fishing near me? Eldero says, do you recommend Syncfusion or similar? I do. They do a lot of really great work, Syncfusion. Look, I don't write a lot of apps for the stores, very few. And I tend to like hand roll a lot of UI stuff because I like doing it. But look, if there's a bunch of things that you want, like, you know, grid, like what would you call it? Like tables and things like that. You know, or entry grids, things like that. I think Syncfusion and stuff are pretty good. I would probably recommend like going around a tool vendor. I like Syncfusion because I think their licensing model is really good because, you know, for independent developers, or, you know, I think they get a license which is like if you earn less than like $1 gazillion or something, then it's free. It's only once you earn more than a certain amount you've got to start paying, which I think is really nice. So yeah. So I think it's pretty cool. All right, so we've got some objects in here. Hopefully that helps. But look, so there's some other people in the chat who do lots of Xamarin work. Maybe somebody can give their opinions on what libraries they like using. And I've got a bagel. All right, cool. So Matt says, yeah. Currently working as a full stack Xamarin apps developer. It's great to, and also it's great to see a real expert developing. I don't know who that. Yep, cool. Whoever that is. Matt Goldman says the controls are great. Agree on the licensing model. Also, the support is beyond comparison. And Brad also says Syncfusion's great. Excuse me. Look, I use Syncfusion right back in, you know, when I was developing UWP applications. And whenever we had troubles with them, we could very easily reach out to them and they would fix things and send us a patch and whatnot. So, yeah. Let's put it this way. If I was starting a project now and I needed a library, it was sufficiently complex, or I was working with enough people that I wanted a library of controls, I would try Syncfusion first. That's just, yeah, cool. All right, let's keep going. We've got ourselves a model here. Now, I don't have any images yet because I got to go and find some images. Should I just go and find them? Maybe we should do that now. No, let's get this working first. Brad says, I did draw up Syncfusion from one of my apps because the simple graph I was drawing, I could do with Xamarin.Forms shapes instead. Yeah, fair enough. There was also that micrograph thing as well. I don't know if anyone used that. Remember that? Tiny charts, maybe? Was it tiny charts? Xamarin.Forms tiny charts, maybe? Micro charts, yeah, that's the one I was thinking of. Yeah, that's pretty cool, right? I haven't used it for a while. I don't know if it's still supported. I'm assuming it is. Yeah, look, updated 8 days ago. Lovely. Mac build's failing. So I haven't used this for a while, but maybe it's a good opportunity to use it for, like, I don't know, this thing down here. Anyway, cool. Let's go have a look here. What have we got here? Have we got our design yet? Yeah, we got our design. It's looking real average, but we're going to make it look better. So let's see what we can do whilst we're actually running, right? Let's see how good our hot reload's going to be for us. So for us, we want to have a binding context here. And we should be able to add this in here, right? So if we add in our view model here, view models, view models, and we say our binding context for this puppy is our view model, like that. Then maybe what we can do here is we can just, we've got our grid here. I'm just going to put this over here. This is our grid, which has our background color on it. Just put that over there. Cool. We're going to box view, which is yellow. What I actually want to do here is I want to put a carousel view in here. Okay, so we got a carousel view. This is gonna, okay, so here's the trick, right? The trick here is that the carousel view is gonna have an image up here. It's gonna have some text here and here, right? So, but what we actually have here is we've got 2 rows, right? We've got 2 rows in our grid like that. So I'm gonna make this carousel view go over the whole thing. So I'm going to have this as, it's in grid row 0, which I probably don't need to specify. I probably shouldn't do that, but I'm going to have it in grid.row span is 2. Okay. And then our item source, we should be able to go binding to items. All right. Let's see if that blows up. Okay. Now, what we want to do is we want to give this a template, right? So we'll say, we'll give this a item template. So this is like the same thing, right? So data template, Here's something I never do, but maybe I should, is specify the data type. Because I'm doing this I'm setting up this view model in XAML, I can actually access it from here, right? That's not my data type, actually. Is it? No, it is. It is my data type. Of course, it's my data type. No, is it? Yeah, I think what I want to do is because my view model, my actual collection is not that, it's the models. So then it becomes, because it's like this, models equals like that. Because then I can say, like that. And then I should get some strong typing for my items. Okay, so now we're specifying the template for them. Right? So in this case, what I'm going to do is the template for one of these things is actually going to be exactly the same as this page. So again, it's going to be like 1.5. Do I want to become famous? I don't want to become famous. Stay out of my chat. Let's go and do the same thing as we did up above. Row definitions 1.5 star. There's probably other ways of doing this. 1 star. Hey, Glenn. Nobody wants that kind of fame. Nobody does. I don't know. Certainly not me. Hi, Aarons. How you doing? All right. So what I'm going to do here is in the first section here. Well, let's do the text first of all. So let's put a label. Hi, Alaressa, how you doing? Let's do a stack layout. In grid row 1. It's going to be horizontal. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put in like the bit of text here and the bit of text here. All right, so we'll put in a label here. So our text, we can bind it, right? So we can bind it to, and hopefully it's going to give us our right thing. What do we call it? We call it title. Beautiful. Let's see if that worked. Text color. I don't know if it's just not visible. No. Oh, I've got an idea. We put this box view over here. All right. That's not good. So this is grid. Carousel. Let's give this a background color. Let's see where it is. Last time I was in here, I was doing a Starbucks challenge. Yeah, so so I pretty much finished the Starbucks challenge. There was a couple of like refactors that I could probably do to that code, but you know I'll refactor that later. What we're doing at the moment is we're doing this one here. And I'm just working on this this onboarding screen here. So far, we've kind of got the onboarding screen appearing in the right way and disappearing, and we're just like throwing in that gradient. And now we're just going to put in this little bit of text here, put in our indicator view. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be amazing. let's just see where this is. Background color red. Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Well, it's definitely there. So now what we want to do is we want to find out where this little thing is. I wish it was a nice... Oh, XAML binding failures? No. I'm just going to see. Hello. All right. Let's see where this is. All right. Why can we not see that? Is this in our data template? I feel like we don't have any items. This is where I screw up the view model. So we go to items. I wonder if that... No, is magic and you get no... yes, magic is and you get, and no, I didn't make it. Let me show you. It's this one here. Yeah, let me take you straight to the thing. No, that's not it. Sorry, hang on. I think I'm using two computers here. I think my copy paste is not working between them. No, it's not. But yeah, MagicGradients, GitHub. MagicGradients. And it's really cool. If you've got lots of gradient stuff to do, it works really, really nicely. It's based on SkiaSharp. So I've got a dependency on SkiaSharp. Yeah, really, really nice. I think for simpler gradients, you know, I could use what's inside of Xamarin.Forms, but I think it's not going to work for me in this situation. Now I'm wondering here, I'm going to do this. I got the feeling I don't have any items. So I'm going to go set property ref items value. Is that look about right, people? I get the feeling that when I'm doing this in my constructor, it's not updating this property here. I don't know if that's the problem. Ah, see, look, hello, 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 hello. Okay, cool. So that was the problem. My view model, because I didn't have a set property in my constructor where I create a new instance of this, it wasn't detecting it. So hopefully if I come back to my page now, I'll put this back to my binding of title. Find new fishing spots. Who's fishing near me? Discover nature. Catch the fish. All right, we like. Cool. So we have that. And then we're going to have another label down here, which is going to be our binding to our blah, 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 blah. What's it called? I like that. Glenn Stevens. Glenn Stevens is always good with the old songs. Content. Not wheat. Let's go. Well, actually, we already set up a thing for this, didn't we? Let's say static resource, body text. All right, let's go and style this, shall we? Or should we refactor it later? We'll get rid of that background color there. Okay. All right, let's go and do that. Let's go and add some styles in. Okay, so we're going to style, we'll call this, so we'll create a style for, looks to me like there's a few different styles. So this is onboarding header and this one here. So both of these are fairly unique. So we'll call it onboarding header and onboarding content. And it's targeting a label. Oops. And we'll put in a setter for our property. Sorry if you can hear some banging in the background. I got some workmen here working on stuff. So this actually just wants to be white. And then we'll set another one here for Bill says it's magic. It is. It's totally magic having us here. I don't know. Let's set it to be like 30 or something like that. 32, maybe. Let's do it 32. Oops, that's not right. Font size 32. All right. And then we'll have another one, which is onboarding content, which is going to be, I don't know what color, I suppose. This one here, this color here, body text, I think. Is that right? Is it going to work? Yeah, that's better. Oops. No, let's get our body. Oh no, my Alt key is doing weird things now. Body text. I think it's supposed to be a value. Just put it like that. It's been so long since I've created myself a style. Let's try that. I think that's right. Maybe it doesn't matter. Value equals, what's your problem here? The resource body is not present in the, I don't know what that's saying. I think it's just IntelliSense. Foobar. All right, cool. Let's come back to our page. Let's get rid of that. Let's set its style equal to static resource. No, it's not going to be happy with me. Okay, onboarding header. Zoinks. Out of my way. There we are. Find new fishing spots. And then let's do the same thing down here. Onboarding content. Lovely. It's a little big. All right. Now, let's go use our styles to change some of those values. Let's go and set this at like 20. We're going to update. Oh, serious? I hope this is not going to get upset at me. It is. Hot reload stopped. Why have you done that? Oh well. Let's give that another. What font do I like the most? Not this one. That's for sure. It depends. It depends. Let me see if this will work for me. Wait on. Oops. Ugh. For some reason. Doesn't want to hot reload this. Why is that? I'm going to just put a color value in here for a second. No, it just doesn't want to do it. All right. Nope. So what font do I like the most? I actually really like just Open Sans. I think is really nice. It's probably what I'm going to use for this one here as well. Open Sans. In fact, we should probably do that. Let's go and add in some fonts here. Okay, so let's go and add some existing items. So yeah, this will probably give you a good idea of what fonts I like. These are the fonts that I have in my OneDrive. Font Wholesome, Connet, Sans, Open Sans. Is there a particular tag you search for on Dribble to find these UI challenges? There isn't. I'll tell you how I find them. Once I put this in, I'm going to make this semi-bold. Let's add semi-bold in. Let me add this font in and also probably a light font as well. Well, then maybe that's regular. Let's have a look. Ipsum. Yeah, I don't reckon that's a light. I reckon that would be maybe it's a, let's have a look. Let's have a look at, maybe it's a semi-bold. I reckon maybe we've got a bold and a semi-bold. Let me add that in. semi-bold. We got a semi-bold. We'll grab a bold, and we'll grab a regular as well. All right. And we'll just check, yeah, Android assets. That's what we need. Let's go have a look at Xamarin.Forms fonts. Because who can remember the attribute? Anyone? That's it. Export font. Export font, and then the font file name. And then we'll set the alias equal to bold font. Is that it? Yep, that should be it. Why you not like this? Why you no like? There we are. That's why. Assembly attribute. So let's add those three in. So we've got Open Sans bold. We've got Open Sans regular. And we'll make this regular font. And we have semi-bold. Okay, so now we can reference them as that. Okay, beautiful. Now the one thing I'm not liking here is it looks like my hot reload isn't working when I change this. But anyway, we'll find out. Let's have a look. But while that's building and embedding the fonts, let's go and talk about this question of how to find cool things in Dribble. It's just looking around. Is there a particular tag I look for? No, but I'll tell you what I do. I come to Dribble, right? And then my mouse runs out of batteries. Cracky almighty. Actually, no, it's just... Okay, come to Dribble. By default, it's going to come with the following. I normally just go popular or new and noteworthy. And then this probably needs to be much bigger. And then I'll normally click on mobile. And the way I choose them actually is I kind of come through and just see things that stand out to me, because in my view, there's a lot of things, there's a lot of design stuff that is, you know, pretty much all looks the same. So I try and do things that stand out. And if you click on the mobile one, you get mostly mobile. That's interesting. But you got to kind of be careful looking at these designs as well, because sometimes they do stuff like this, right? Which is like, wow, this looks amazing, except it's mostly off the side of the page. Yeah, so I kind of just do that. Search for that. Or, you know, you can also do a search here if you're looking for something which was like, you know, shopping mobile. You'd end up with probably a lot of shopping sites. But yeah, there's this real tendency to all sort of look the same. The one thing that I do notice is that it also sort of, for me, when I come in, it always goes to following, which means I'm only viewing things from the people I'm following. So don't do that. So do popular and noteworthy. Click the mobile thing. Yeah. And then what I do is I go and stick them in my likes. So you'll see ones that I've done in the past, right? Like these are, every now and again I come through and I go, oh yeah, I really like that design for whatever reason. And I normally will pick one based on something I think it's doing interesting in terms of layout. So you'll see there's all sorts of things that these are all ones that were potential targets for things. You know, you'll see the pizza one that I did, this one, that one. Yeah, anyway. There you go. All right, let's have a look at what our app's doing. Now, meanwhile, I've lost my mouse. God, how annoying. Hang on. All right, I'm going to have to do this on my actual keyboard here. It's going to be tragic. All right. Did we run? Okay. So what do we want to do here? I bet you this is not going to update. No, it's not. All right. So what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to come in here. We've got our resources in here, but I'm going to set some of these manually for the moment. So let's call this, what's this going to be? This is going to be, what do we call them? Bold font, regular font, semi-bold. Is my hot reload just totally toast, is it? Let's have a quick look here. Because I should just be able to go font family and then the name, right? And it should just work. Flat design everywhere. Yeah. Well, at least it's not the neuromorphic, which was everyone was all excited about recently. I think it looks pretty. I just think it's really unusable. All right, I'm going to just, because that's not the bold font, I'm just going to restart this. That's not a bold font, is it? Did I set them to be the wrong type in here? Because that's not the right font family, is it? Okay, so it's definitely doing that, but that's not Open Sans. What did I do? Did I set it in? No, I didn't set it as embedded resource. You're right. You're totally right. You know what I did? I looked at it and I was like, and I saw it was like, oh, Android asset. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right. But it's not right. It's not right at all, is it? Embedded resource. You're totally right. Thanks for that. Embedded resource. Could have probably multi-selected that. Embedded resource. Boom. Done. I reckon that's going to solve it. Isn't there a new way? Isn't this the new way to do fonts? Is there a newer way, Lachlan? I don't know, Lachlan, is there? Oh, yeah. What am I doing? Why am I adding it into my Android project? No, you're absolutely right. I've just been streaming too long, and I've just gone crazy. You're absolutely right. This should. Yeah, but it's not. Yeah, this is totally wrong. I'm just going to stop this. Stop embarrassing myself because, yeah, you put it in the project. Of course you do, right? Resources, fonts, build action, embedded resources. Wow. It's not like I haven't done this 1,000 times before. I'm just going to put it into fonts. Fonts. And then I'm going to grab these puppies here. I'm going to move them there. Wow. That is some weirdness. That is totally true, Lachlan. I did do it a zillion times the old way. All right. Let's go and check the properties on this. Okay, embedded resources, beautiful. Yeah, wow. Okay. Maybe this will do it. I think it's right now. And my mouse has come back too, so that's good. We're going to find some pictures of fishermen in a moment. It's going to be amazing. Yes. Finally. Finally. Now, is it happy with my with this? Was it all just upset with hot reload because I was just doing stupid things? So we want this to be, what was it called? Let's make it regular font, semi-bold. No, I still think it didn't do that. Let's make this 30. That'll tell us. No. Hot reload is toast. All right, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to come straight into this page here. And I'm going to put it in here. And then I'm going to refactor it later. All right. All right. Semi. Why don't you like that? That's awesome, Glenn. Glenn just sent me a text. I won't read out. Font Font size. Let's make the font size of 20. Too big. 20. 10. 16. 16. Right. And let's say, how do we set the number of lines? Max lines, line. I think we don't want that much text, right? Max lines 2 or 23. 2. There we go. Max lines 2. Now, the spacing between these is ridiculous, right? So we don't want that much spacing. Let's have a look at our design. Maybe a little less in here. So let's set the spacing of the stack layout to be a little bit lower. Spacing of 0. Let's put the row spacing of this equal to 0. I'll probably pull it up a little. Okay, that's kind of all right. Discover nature, catch a fish. Padding's about right. Okay, cool. Let's go with that. What do we want to do now? I'm going to put the line spacing of this a little lower. This is a really line height 0.9. Is that? Yeah. 0.7. No, it's a little bit bigger. Maybe it is 1. All right, let's go with that. Beautiful. So now what we want to do, we have. What have we got here? Let's do some swipies. I'll do it with my fingy. Find new fishing spots. Okay, that's good. So we get our pages. So now what we want to do is we want to find some images, and we'll just test out whether our images work. So, this could be like really scary. I know. Do you know a way to justify label text? Yeah, I do. I do indeed. How do you want to justify it? You mean like left and right and center? Yeah, because you can do this, right? Like text. Like you could go end like that. But there isn't one for like in the center. And of course start. I don't know. If what you want is you want it to always be the full width, don't know a way to do it. Yeah, there are HTML labels. That's true, Lachlan. Let's find a fisherman. God, fisherman, nature fisherman. I think we want... you could probably do it with SkiaSharp. Yeah. Not what you want to hear, I know. Let's just grab a few images because we want to just... And I think we want it in this kind of aspect ratio. Now what we could do... We could probably just... You know what? For the moment, I'm just going to do this. In our view model, wherever that went, I could actually just put in that there and it would probably work. Yeah, HTML labels are a thing. So theoretically, I should be able to throw in an image here, bind that to my image, could not retrieve it. Yeah, okay. It's like, I'm not going to find that file for you. Okay. So I'm going to actually have to put those files in because I thought maybe this would be kind to me and it would let's just save this image. Let's put this under cdev. Exact. Let's just do this. Let's just go copy image. And let's create a rectangle like this, and then we'll go paste appearance. End up with a fisherman in here. Beautiful. I don't know what aspect ratio we actually want it to be, but I could find out, right? I could have a look here and I could say, I'd want it to be something like, that height. That'd be fine. All right, let's do this. Boop. And let's call this object here onboard image 1. Okay, cool. Let's go find another fisherman. This guy or girl? Sure, why not? Ah, Pinterest. Pinterest ruins everything. I hate Pinterest. I hate Pinterest so much. All right. Let's grab this. We don't need crazy good images for what we're doing. Oh. What is GitHub? Oh, wow, lots of solution going on here. I love it. Wow. I just saw that from Matt Goldman, a Chrome extension to remove Pinterest from Google search results. That is, that is awesome because Pinterest and I don't get on. We're not very good friends. I'm going to install that later on. All right. I don't know if this is going to be the right aspect ratio, but we'll find out. Let's rename this to onboard image 2. I'll refactor it later. No one should go to 2. 2. Beautiful. All right. One more image. God, this is killing me. It's killing me. Just inappropriate. Why am I so worried about the image I'm getting here? This guy here, he's not paying attention to fishing. Perfect. Come on, let's capture it. All right. So I'm going to move him more to the center. This is the advantage of doing it this way. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab those 3 there, and I'm going to say export selected to Android. And this is going to go to c:/dev/github/ field parts / fishing source fishing God, Android resources. Oh my God, it's killing me. All right. Export the Android editions. Alrighty. Now, let's bring him in here. A lot of images, bro. Wasn't there supposed to be a way of doing this like fonts coming up soon? Okay, now if I'm not mistaken, if we go and we put this into here, we don't even need the PNG. Make this a 2, and we make this 3. It'll be a Maui, Lachlan. Oh, yeah, good. I think that should work. Even seen it demoed. Oh, awesome. Okay, now hopefully we'll have our images soon. Alrighty, come on. What you doing? What you doing, Android? What you doing? Hey, we've got images. Looks like rubbish, but you know how we fix that, don't you? You know how we fix that. I know how we fix that. Aspect. Fill. No, Lachlan, we don't refactor it later. We set that there, and then we question reality with that little line that's going on there. You know what that is? That's going to be the row spacing here. I hate the row spacing. Row. No, not the. No, you're not my problem. You're my problem. You up here. Where are you? Row spacing 0. Come on. No? Okay, maybe not. Row spacing 0. I feel like hang on a second. What do we got? We got a little gap here. So my image is a little bigger at 1.5 of the row spacing of that. And it's popping out under the bottom. How rude. So this is part of... Does this have any padding or any margins? Let's just go... Interesting. Okay, so it appears to me that this one isn't going down that full height. Which tells me whatever this is associated with has a little bit of padding in it. No. Interesting. I said the margin is 10 and it gets rid of it. Yeah, minus margin. I mean, I could do it, right? I could do that. I mean, it could just be hot reload, just chucking a wobbles. Yeah, I reckon I've seen this before with SkiaSharp. My bet is it's SkiaSharp, and SkiaSharp, I've noticed that sometimes with the canvas view, it doesn't draw on the very last row. So I reckon maybe even like this. 0 left, 0 top, 0 right. 0 left, top, right. -1. There we are. So yeah. So there we are. Now we have that swiper-doodling. That's pretty cool. With a gradient going over the top of it. I don't hate it. If I was to click on this button, it should fade out and then fade in the other one. Let's try that. I didn't fade out everything. That's awesome. All right. But let's put an indicator view in. Whoop, whoop. Anyway, that's not looking terrible, right? It's not looking terrible except for when I half crash it. All right, cool. So let's do this. Let's get down the bottom here. So this now, by the way, wants to be a grid dot row span of 2. Okay. Now, we want to get rid of this button. And instead, what we want to do down here, okay, down the bottom section here, is I think we want to have, a grid here with 0.5, 0.5. There's a nice optical effect there where it looks like the axis of the gradient is preceding. I don't know what that means. Astronomy terms. You geeked out on me, Matt. All right, grid here. Wink. And that's going to be like it's probably going to be a grid as well, to tell you the truth. The gradient. Looks like the bulge at the bottom, the gradient transparency is moving as you scroll the carousel. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's an optical illusion, right? It like what I'm taking it to mean is as I scroll, it feels like this bit's going down or something. Is that what you mean? It feels like that. Yeah, it feels like it's changing. But it's not. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I totally meant that. Let's get rid of this button. Bye, button. All right, let's put in a grid. Let's put it at the end. Let's give it a margin of 20. Let's give it 2 columns of equal width. That's exactly right. It's like, it's pretty cool though. Anyway, that's kind of what I just wanted to play around with anyway, just to, I think this needs to be in grid row 1. I thought it was, I don't know if the designer intended that. I mean, you could just bake that into each of the images as well. The image, it rotates a little. You could. I was thinking what you could do is you could alter the gradient so that it's a wave. So as you get to the second one here, it's actually coming like that. That'd be pretty cool. And then the third one, yeah, it goes like, yeah, anyway, whatever. Out of scope. Columns facing. Bill, can I check this later on the real iOS device and let me know if there's a delay in loading the images when the carousel first loads up? Cool. All right. I actually may not be able to tell you the truth because my iOS is being a little bit wacky, but we'll try it. Okay, so we've got a grid here. And I'm going to do that thing that I always do, which is should just use debug rainbows, right? Column spacing. What's this? No, column definitions. There you are. Okay, so we got our box there. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw an indicator view in here. And the indicator view is yeah, some kind of lazy loading. One thing you could try, if the carousel view is causing you issues, there's a I don't love the carousel view. I don't love it at all. I think it's rubbish. But the one that I use in Marvel Cards, I just can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, is really, really awesome. So I'm assuming that if I... No, not something transition. There's a whole bunch of Skia. Of course there is. Oh no, that's the card. Sorry. Bit of a digression here. Where are you? Let's have a look at this one. Guess we'll take it there. There we are. This one here, I find far superior to the carousel view. Plus it does all kinds of cool things. Like cool things you probably don't want to do, but are awesome nonetheless. So there you go. That's what I would use, and if that solves your problem, then yay. But we will try loading it later on, because if it does cause weird glitchiness, we should report it, right? Now, we want an indicator view. How do we set this? I'm going to have to go and look at the docs. I think you can just bind it right to the Xamarin.Forms indicator view. If I'm not mistaken, you can just set some carousel something. Ah, yeah, indicator view. There we are. Lovely. Okay, so we just got to give this a name. Indicator view. Zoinks. And then up in our carousel view, we tell it about the indicator view. I feel like that might not hot reload well. Let me just check the Docker doodles. Let's just do this for fun. Let me just restart that. Oh, you have to initialize it? I thought you could just... It basically just takes its values off the carousel view. Yeah, look. Okay. So let's say this is... The indicators are red. Let's see if this works. Red. Yep. Selected indicator is white. There we are. Cool. Now, we don't want red and white. So, as cool as it is, let's have a look here. So here they're using like this dark gray color. We got that. So if I come back over here, we already set up a color for that one. I just need to find out what it is. It's probably that one there. So now we've got our gray things. We want it to be left aligned. So we'll make it at the start. Okay. So that looks good so far. Well, we're almost finished. So why don't we take a challenge? So let's say, what do you reckon? Let's put this to a vote. This is the design that they have here at the moment. Now they got this like wacky star thing that's just sitting over there doing, I don't know what, right? I'm assuming that this is supposed to be a carousel view. And I'm assuming this is the selected page indicator, right? So it would, jump to there and then it would jump to there. That's my assumption. And I think we can do that. We can do that with data templates with the indicator view. What do you think? Should we do that? Let's do it. First thing I need is I need a little icon. Indicator view. Indicator view. Indicator view. This thing down here. All right. Am I going to draw this myself or am I going to just copy it? I'm going to draw it myself. You don't think so? You think it's just there to be pretty? Maybe. I think though I think what I'm going to do is for a sample. Let's just do it anyway, hey? What do you reckon? Let's do this. Let's draw. Oh, sorry. Let's do this. I reckon it's, I don't see a point for this other than carousel progress, but yeah, it's sitting kind of weird. But anyway, let's just do this anyway. Let's go, and this is how I'm going to check this out for dumbness. I need to create this little star. think you're right. That was a funny comment. I think if someone with mediocre design skills like me placed it there, it could think it's part of the indicator view. But for professionals, it's probably not. Yeah, I agree. I think it's hilarious. Anyway, whatever. I'm gonna can't stop me now. I'm gonna do this. What are you doing? I'm making a star. There's a really cumbersome way of making a star. You think the active one gets... Oh, God. The active one's not getting wider. How about that? I'll use that. So I'm going to use an image for these, right? Which means I'm probably also going to use an image for this. So this is going to be called selected indicator. And this is going to be unselected indicator. Let's export those. We'll see how this goes. Maybe it'll make no sense at all and we'll just revert this all. It could look naff, you never know. Probably will. Maybe his stars are big. Design just needs bigger space. Maybe. All right. All I wanted to do really was find an excuse to use a data template. That's all I wanted. Stars are big. Yeah, I don't know much. I know stars are big. Okay, we don't want a label in here, we want an image. We also need an indicator view dot item template. Control template? No, indicator template. Okay. And then we're going to put an image in here. Source equals unselected. It's a weird sound. What do we call it? Selected indicator. Let's put Let's see what happens. Your star could be really big, for all I know. Sorry about the noise in the background, if you can hear it. It's builders. What else have we got? Once we've done that, I would argue we do this, which is a little gradient. How hard can that be? With some text, and an arrow, and we're done for today. While that's building, I'm going to draw that. I'm going to give it a border of white. Oh, no, we don't want it filled. Oh, no. Hey, what are you doing? There we go. Let's make that like 3 wide. Let's give it some round cappage. A little bit of a round nose. Perfect. All right, I think all right. That could look better. I mean, it's kind of cool. I think we want to get rid of the indicator color. And the selected indicator color. Actually, I think we want to set them transparent, to tell you the truth. Let's do that. Oh, that noise is annoying. All right, that's better. Yeah, so we have to set, it's true, we have to set different ones for selected and unselected. And there is a way to do that on here. That noise. Using visual states. Indicator view has a selected visual state that can be used to initiate a visual change for the current position. So, we can use setters here. Let's try this. Let's put this into our page resources. Get this out of the way here. Put this up in our page resources. Okay. So what this is a visual state which is targeting a label. Yeah, carousel views are worst. Carousel view sometimes it's kind of weird. I find it when you're using your finger, it's not such a problem. When I'm using a mouse on an emulator, sometimes it'll do it. But when I'm actually using my finger, it behaves nicely. Okay, so what we want is we want to have an indicator style which targets an image. And then we want to say, when it's normal, we want to set the source of the image to be our unselected indicator, right? That's what we called it, unselected indicator. But when it's selected, we want to set the source of the image to be the selected indicator. And then maybe if we get this indicator style and we assign it to here, oops, like they do here, maybe it'll work. It's going to have to be a reference to a static resource, isn't it? Like that. That didn't work at all, did it? Yeah, I think it just happens on emulators. So that didn't work. Static resource. So what are we saying here? Let's say we have an unselected indicated. And then we have an indicator style. Feels to me like it should be about right. Maybe it doesn't. Unselect. Maybe it doesn't work. Yeah, it's a quick bounce, see what happens. Selected, I'm setting the source property to be yeah, he didn't like that. There we are. See, look how pretty that is. Probably can't see it. Hang on. Look how pretty that is. It worked. It's about as excited as I get. Alrighty. Our page is almost complete. Still think the star should be wider. I wonder. Should we try something? Should we? Lachlan's always just like, I feel like Lachlan's always just teasing me. Yeah, so what I'm using at the moment, Brad, is I'm using Android and Visor with a mouse, and I can make it happen. But I can't if I use my touchscreen on the device. So Lachlan, let's see if we can make this happen, because I aim to please Lachlan. That's what I aim for. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to make this thing bigger. I just want to see if it works. So we're going to put that there. We're going to send it back one. Actually, we'll just group these two together. Whoa, no. No. This one, who are you? Rectangle 7. And who are you? Your selected indicator. Oh, by just adding some. Yeah, okay. Yeah, maybe. Let's find out. Let's find out. Let's do this. Yeah, that should totally work. So we'll say margin value. We'll make it, so we can see it, we'll make it 10 wide, 0 to the side. And when it's unselected, we'll make it 0, 0. I don't know if that's going to work or not. Let's see if this will work. Now I had to. No. It looks like it doesn't update the margin. So is there a fourth view in the design? There is. Technically speaking, there is, but it's just different pages for the onboarding. Because of the way we've done it, we could just add a fourth page in just by having a new onboarding model, because that controls what pages are visible. So, yeah. If we wanted to get this one, put it there. So next run we have another one. No, I doubt it. I'm not sure. Look, I think it's going to be weird anyway. Let's leave this one out for the moment, and maybe we can refactor it later on. I just want to get the bottom of this page done. Is there an item sizing strategy? If it doesn't, you'll need Skia. Or what I was going to do was I was going to say, what would happen if we just had, like here, let's just quickly try this. Right. So I get that. I put that above. That's not that. Selected indicator, put that above there. Right. And so all I'm doing is like literally making the image bigger. Get rid of its border. Group those two together. And call this the selected indicator. export that puppy. Let's see what that does. Alderai, you lost the point of all this. Yeah, it's been a bit random. My apologies. What we're having a look at is in the design that they have, there seems to be a bit more space here between this indicator and these indicators based on the selected one. We're just going to see whether we could get that same effect. So yeah, see, look, here we are. So this is, I think this is kind of what, and there is a big question about whether the designer even meant this at all, right? But if I have a look in here, what I've done is I've made that image for the selected one wider. So now it kind of has a bit more space around that one than the unselected ones. So I think, Lachlan, that's kind of what we were talking about, right? Yeah, it totally works. Totally needs graffiti. Not graffiti, confetti. Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to do that twice. So yeah, let's go with that. Oh, Lachlan, stop it. Okay. Doesn't need to be animated. It's animated enough. It's more animated than it should be, probably. All right, let's. Now, what's Brad been saying? Brad's been saying, just tested in one of my apps. I'm able to replicate the thing getting stuck between views on device with my fingers. Seems less likely than with the mouse, so I wonder what's causing it. Long hold is triggering something else in the flow, maybe. If I swipe and move my finger off top part of the screen, it does it every time. So some touch-up event is being funky. Hey, cool. So if I go here and go off the... I'm doing this on my device here. Mind you, my device is running like cheese, but... I don't even know what happened then. Yeah, see, it got there. I managed to get it stuck halfway then. I don't know how to do it. All right. Oh, what did I do? I shouldn't have stopped that. All right, let's add the last thing in before I call it a day, which is this thing. So over here, God, my computer's running like total badness. So we got a frame, maybe? Is that to got a frame with some gradients and a button and an image? Let me actually let me export this before we get too carried away. Let's go. Let's go next button icon. And let's export that. Sorry about this. Okay, let's bring that in so we can do all of this hopefully with a hot reload. I mean, you could do this with paths, I suppose. But... Okay, but let's have a look at what we want to happen here. So basically we got this grid here. This grid. God, look how slow my computer's running here. This grid here, we divided it down the... Hey, Bill, thanks. Nice to share it with you too. I'm going to put perhaps a grid in here with a frame. Yeah, let's double bag our grids. So have a good weekend, Bill, if you're heading off. Let's put this in. So just waiting for this to build. But I should be able to put a frame in here, which is going to go across both of those. So it's going to go grid. Dot col span of 2. And we can do a... Come on. You got this computer. Let's have a look at... I'm pretty sure we could do this with gradients from... We could either do it with MagicGradients or we could do it with the inbuilt gradients. Why don't we try it with the inbuilt gradients? We probably want to do this. To tell you the truth, we'll probably have a frame. Let's do this. Let's have a frame in grid column 1. And then inside of the frame, we'll have a grid. What don't you like? Okay, that looks right. I don't know what this is all about, but so we're going to get that swiping. Yep. And then in here, we should be able to do a background, right? Background. And then here, I think we can do like gradients. So, so we can put a gradient stop in here at, so the first color is going to be a static resource. Background gradient start. It's out of the way. And then this is going to go to a I don't know why it's all gone weird on me, but anyway, let's make that to the background. There we are, that's not bad. We got our gradient here. Let's make this frame have some corners. How big are the corners? Corner radius of 16. Yeah, that's good. I think it's a little bit higher than that. Let's, I think we actually set the height up here, didn't we? Let's set the height of 60 here. Yeah. Okay. And let's also add a little bit of margin as well. I feel like it needs to stop here. So let's give that a margin of 20, 0. Okay, cool. Looking good, looking good. Now we're going to grid inside of here. I really wish I could move this out of the way somewhere, like up here. Let me put it up here. No worries, take care, Matt. Thanks for dropping by. We're just about finished. All I'm going to do is just jam a button on here. Next week should be kind of interesting because next week we'll tackle this screen. But yeah, have a good weekend. So this is what I'm going to do here. I'm going to have a button. I have an image button with an image of, did we import that image? An image of next button icon and a width request of 40 and a height request of 40. Do you want to play? You don't want to play, because we got rid of our grid. Our hot reload's really unhappy with us at the moment. I'm just going to stop this. Oh, what's an image? Of course. All right, let's put this in grid. Column equals 1. Let's give it a, I don't know why it's so small. Let's first of all give this a padding of 0 because frame paddings, there we go, pain in the bum. Does an image button always, why is that so big? Right, let's give it a background color of the accent color. I'm hoping it has a corner radius. of 16. Here we are. What else do we need? We need... I feel it just needs to be a bit bigger, actually. Let's have a look. Okay. I think we need to give this a little bit of margin. Maybe not. It's not terrible. It's not terrible. Anyway, let's go and put a label in here. So we're going to put in the label for the Explore. My gradient's too aggressive. Angry gradient. Column. Yeah, it probably is a little bit aggressive. Let's add a style in for this, shall we? We'll call this one we'll call this subheader, and we'll say this wants to be white, semi-bold. We'll get rid of the margins. We'll set it to be 20, sure. And then we'll see if this will take this. Okay, so that is too big. So let's make this like 16. We'll see how that goes. It's going to reduce the size. 14. Let's say this is vertical options of center. I don't know if it's actually taking that new value from here. Let's make this 8. Yeah, it's unfortunately not taking the value from my app XAML. Let's do this. Oh, you can't. Oh my goodness. My apologies. My apologies. Here, I'm playing around with this down here. So let's try a few things. Let's go and say font size of 12. We'll give it a margin of 10. Okay, so that looks okay. Let me have a look over here. The font's too small, so let's make it 14. Okay, now you're saying the gradient is too aggressive. I agree with you. I agree. Let's have a look at what this gradient's doing. This gradient is going from a value of like that. Let's have a look at what that color is. And let's try to change our gradient here. That's a bit better, isn't it? I think our background gradient was too aggressive, as you say. So I'm going to go and change that value. And then make this a static resource. Oops. Of background gradient start. Hey Ionix Jr. Welcome to the raid. Hello, hello. Have you been streaming?
Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim Philpotts and oh,
The Batuzzi.
how amazing you'll
Hello
be.
from Brazil. Well, hi from Australia. Have you been, you've just been streaming, I assume? Control C, Control V, I love it. That's what I do. I've actually got this button specially set up so that whenever I say, oh, I'll do that later and I'll refactor, I have this little, I'll refactor it later and I can just press the button and increment the counter. So it's like my Control C, Control V. Maybe that's what I should have. Copy pasta. And do it there. Hey, let me show you what we're working on. So as you probably know, I like to do UIs in Xamarin.Forms. So what we're doing is Ion and me, we are MVPs. Yes, I know you. And we're on live talking about Xamarin. Fantastic. This is in, I'm going to say Spanish. I could be wrong about that. Brazilian. Portuguese. Do I get thrown out of the UN for that? Ah, the Zalander. Yes, the Zalander. If I do a Google for that, am I going to find it? Or if I do Xamarin, there we go. Let's just see what it comes up with. There's a plugin calendar. Searching GitHub. Well, let's just do this. Let's just go github.com/ionixjr/Zalander. Let's have a look. How's it going? You got nice badges. It's 46% code coverage. That's good. That's pretty. That's pretty. You've even got documentation. Good Lord. You got a nougat as well. Fantastic. Yeah, it looks fantastic. Really good. Great. I don't know why it's great. It was for some reason stopping your only 46% code coverage, which is realistically about 46% more than what I have in any of my projects. Anyway, oops, let me do this. Let me just do I don't have a shout out button, but hopefully people will go and follow you and have a look at what you're working on. All right, let me tell you what we're working on. We're doing, you know how I like to do these UI design things. Basically, you know, I go and find these designs and I try and replicate them, yada, yada, yada. So in this case, we're doing this this fishing one. And so just doing the onboarding screen has taken me a while. But the reason why is we've got some funky gradients and we've been doing some funky things with the indicator view down here as well. So I'll show you where we're at with this one. And then next week we'll tackle this page. And then this one here, I want to make this like a SkiaSharp, or not necessarily like a AR type thing where I can swipe left and right and I can see fish as I scan around. That'd be awesome. Anyway, at the moment, what we're doing is we've just got basically this page here. So this is our onboarding page. And so as we swipe across, we're basically doing the things. Okay. And then hopefully, so we're using MagicGradients to do the gradients. Apart from that, we're looking pretty good. I'm actually just about to finish, because what I'm going to do here is I'm now going to get this out of my way up here, and I'm going to hook this up to an event. And what this is an onboarding screen, right? And so hopefully when I click this, this will fade out and then it will fade in our main screen. Yeah, it didn't do anything. All right. Let's try it again. So I have a question for Onyx. Are you doing all of that stuff in XAML, or are you using a code-based UI? I'm going to increase the speed of this. All right. So I think we've got our final effect that we're after here. Let's have a look. Okay, we launch our application. We go straight to our onboarding screen, which is this one here. We've got a nice gradient over our images. So when we swipe, we keep that gradient there. We've got a view model behind here. We've got an indicator view down here, which is showing an indicator, which is really cool. And when we hit our little button down here for Explore, it's going to basically dismiss the screen after it does a quick fade and then bring in the main screen, which doesn't have any detail at all in it at the moment. Ta-da! So there you go. That's pretty nice. And of course, we can't go back to that screen because there's an onboarding screen unless we relaunch the app. Lovely. All right. So I think that is pretty much that first screen done, unless anyone can see anything that I haven't sort of covered off with it. Next week, Am I doing only Xamarin stuff? I do only Xamarin stuff on my stream. So I hope to do more things. But at the moment, I stream on Fridays. I do UI stuff, and on Wednesday night, I stream with Lachlan, and we're building an app out for the weekly Xamarin. I want to do some stuff with like this screen that's behind me is a Raspberry Pi. So it's connected to a Raspberry Pi. So I want to do some stuff with the Raspberry Pi. And I really want to do a bit more Blazor stuff. But that would all be me learning and you watching me learn. So I don't know how useful it would be. Yeah, but that's me. Now, what about meetups? We do meetups on Wednesday night. Yeah. We had one the other night actually. Hang on. Thank you. I've got double bagel here. So here's the thank you. So we had a meetup on Wednesday night, the Melbourne Xamarin meetup. So unfortunately my copy paste isn't working there. Thank you, Lachlan. And Lachlan's put up a link here. So this was with Gerald and Stephen talking about the Xamarin Community Toolkit. So that was really awesome. Yeah, excellent. Coolaroo. Now, let me see if there's anyone. I'm going to have to go and do some work. Thanks, Lachlan. Okay, let's see if anyone know anyone's streaming that we can go and raid. I'm just having a quick look. Yeah, absolutely. Lachlan's doing all the good stuff of posting those links up, but I'm sure it's going up anytime now. Cool. All right. Well, and a community meetup stream from 2 days ago. Yeah. All right. So we'll have those updated. All right. I'm gonna sign off, but I figured I should go and raid somebody. Maybe we'll go and give the Alt F4 stream a raid. They're always pretty good fun. And why don't I try and do that? See how we go here. Let's see if we can get some people over, say hello to the Alt F4 stream. But look, everyone, thanks so much for joining in today, and have a great weekend. And hopefully, I'll see you next weekend. See you later, Ionix. Thanks for the raid. Thanks for everyone hanging out. Have a good weekend. Bye for now.